We had decided that it would be very interesting if we could concoct some sort of an overly large firecracker which would make a nice noise. And so and then this is a key point. This involved taking a mailing tube, a paper mailing tube, and I confess I designed the way to get it to burn properly so that it would go down through and really blow up. And so we took this thing and we set it up on Lion's Back Hill and lit it, and it was a big fizzle. Only at the final analysis did it sort of boom a little bit. But remember the tube, blew. All right. So we went back to the lab and went back to the design boards, and we decided that we needed more compression and we needed faster burning down through the mixture. And so we figured out how to do this. We put it in a tennis ball can, because Maurice was a very good tennis player, so there were lots of tennis ball cans. And we put it all in, we wired the top on with what was basically piano wire, so that it could provide compression. We built a fuse system so that we would light the fuse that would go down in, and then it would flash burn across like this, so that it would be burning down evenly through a layer of gunpowder, which was made with potassium nitrate, so it would cake, and that would provide extra compression. And then we decided we had not really used a sufficiently strong oxidant, so we used barium peroxide as the oxidant, which worked rather well, and potassium chlorate, and aluminum metal. And so we took this thing and we set it up on where there's a house sitting on Lion's Back. And that's the monument. And this was, of course, now you must remember, this was at the height of the Korean War. Everybody was worried about the Russians dropping an atomic bomb. So the night we did this, it was a typical Huntington overcast night with the low ceilings about 600 feet off of the ground or 500 feet off the ground. And so it was providing a perfect reflection. So we did this right around dinner time, where everybody's watching their TVs. They didn't have cable TV then. Everybody had their rabbit ears. And in Huntington, that was a job to get TV reception. So we put this thing off, and we set it on the hill, and I remember looking like this. It was Willie actually stood up, sort of like Napoleon, and he was. But anyway, I could see the lid, and after we lit it, the lid was bouncing like, it was vibrating like this with the flames coming out of it. I thought, oh God, it's going to be another failure. When this enormous roar erupted, in a brilliant green flash, which lit up the whole sky off of the clouds. Of course, caused all the TVs to go haywire. And so we decided it was best probably to make a hasty exit from the area and go not down straight, but there's a way to go back around Lion's Back and come down around, which we did. So we were playing table tennis and cloisters, and the police arrived. And we could not quite figure out how they had figured out that we were in any way, shape, or form responsible, except they found the mailing tube that we'd had there the night before. It had Maurice Henry's name and address. So the police took us down to the police station, booked us, and then put us in the Hooskow. And then there were four of us. Bill and I, they only had 3 cells, a double and 2 singles. And so Bill and I occupied the double, and the other guys the singles. Well, to make a long story short, or a long story somewhat short, when we got up the next morning, the chief of police came and talked to us, and he began telling us stories about how he had done these kinds of things when he was a kid growing up in Scranton. So they basically decided, but then the dean of men came down and got us out. And so we were still waiting for the axe to fall. And I remember we were walking into the science hall, and Emma Hartzler was coming out the other way. She looked at us and says, "Well, I see they let you out." So then I figured that there was an article in the Huntington paper which about this issue about us, and since my parents were living in Altoona at the time, and we had friends in Huntington, I figured, oh, I better call my parents and confess. Confession is always good for the soul. So I called up the phone, my mother answered, and I said, hi mother, David, yes, how are you doing? Fine. I said, she said, well, anything interesting? I said, well, sort of. And I said, you remember my good friend Bill Garrison from Lewiston? Oh yeah, I remember Bill. And what happened to Bill? I said, funniest thing happened to Bill, he spent last night in jail. Mother said, he did? I said, yes, I was his cellmate. There's this deadly silence on the phone, and he said, I'm waiting. Well, the upshot of it was that they decided that we had violated trust, which we had. We'd used college chemicals, and so they took our teaching assistantships away from us. But when we thought about this, we thought that was really penalizing the department more than it was penalizing us, because if you take 4 TAs out of the teaching component of maybe about 10, that's a significant fraction. So we decided, what should we do about this? So we decided the only reasonable thing to do was to go into Don Rockwell and say, look, we know we're not going to be paid, but we'll volunteer and we'll do it without pay, which we did. Well, I've never seen a man so touched as Don was at that time. And we went and did our work, and then at the end of the term, Don called us in. We thought, oh, now what? The 4 of us. And incidentally, that's why I wasn't with Yates. Why I wasn't with Yates at the Pandy Raid, because I was on good behavior. This was right in the spring after that. I was on very good behavior. So Don called us in and said, well, I convinced the president that you guys are really sorry. I told him what you did, and he said, clearly we should give you your teaching, we should pay you for being teaching assistants. So in fact, we really suffered no serious consequences. We did form the Lions Back Scientific Society and had meetings, and this has been a good story. Shirley and I kept this story very much under wraps until after our daughter graduated from Juniata, but we didn't want to tell until after she had graduated. But I'm sure she probably heard about it anyway. So that, Richard, is the story.